I love that episode. I love the point of view of a theoretical astrophysicist saying, hey, at the end of the day, we need to be kind to each other and we need to take care of our blue dot here on this planet. Take care of each other and take care of what we have and how much we've learned because of looking up in the sky and knowing our history and how light travels. And from the perspective of just photography, we had a great opportunity to go out in the pitch dark and look at how by holding a shutter open on a camera, you can see the way that light collects in a way that you can't really see with your human eye. And I'm looking here at the information of the photograph I took. This image right here was just standing there at dark with lassoing a light, and this is what we're able to capture because I left the shutter speed open for 30 seconds. So that was a way of being able to see all the light that was happening in 30 seconds in one frame. And if you want to learn more about the photography tips and techniques used, jump over to our photography and gear deep dive here on chasingframeshow.com. But here, when I'm looking at this image, I'm opening it up in ON1 Photo Raw 2020. And one of the things that's really cool about using this program is I can jump right here in the develop mode and go click on, basically I'm going to use some artificial intelligence to make this image come to life very quickly. This is a new function in this new program from ON1, and it basically, I love that they say adjust the tone control for a pleasant appearance, and that's true. It kind of brings to life what should be brighter, what should be darker, how do we neutralize the tones, and it's a really good way to start. If you hadn't seen that, this is before and this is after. So it gives us a lot of kind of image adjustment right away. One other thing I'm thinking as I look at this image is I'm standing at a perspective that actually has the barn moving away from me a little bit. I'm not really straight on exactly in front of it. And normally that's something you're just kind of stuck with. You didn't shoot at the right angle and that's that. But I can actually come in here to transform, open this up, and this function basically allows me to adjust the angle from which I shot in terms of how it looks afterwards. And so if I shot from a horizontal perspective more here, I can just change the image this dramatically to shift as if I'd shot it from that angle. I can also do the same thing with the vertical, kind of where I was standing. And I can change this to be something that was, you know what, at the end of the day, I wish I'd shot it from here. And now, for all intents and purposes, I did. Just to see that before the intelligence adjustment and what we've done in terms of angle, it's pretty dramatic. I'm going to go ahead and crop this image. I know that I want to see it from a little bit tighter in. I wanted these parts, these extraneous aspects of the image to be gone. I'm going to straighten this out a little bit, and I can see it a lot more like what I want it to look like this. I'm going to go in a little bit tighter and kind of go right here. Make sure that everything that's reflected is part of the image that I want to see. Yes. So the next thing I'm thinking is if I go into the effects tool, I can actually sharpen this a bit more, which is what I want to do. I'm adding a filter. I'm going to add dynamic contrast. This basically adds a clarity to my image. When you want an image to pop, basically that's what this is. And I can go into a surreal where it's really significant. This is before and this is after. You can see that everything kind of pops out. I might not want it that much, but I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. And if you see here, you've got some really, really bright parts of the image. I can actually manage this a little bit in terms of with the highlight tool. You see that coming in and out. So I'm going to bring that down just a little bit more. And I want to try one other effect that I think will have a very cool kind of tone effect on this. So I'm going to add the filter. I'm going to put on bleach bypass. Basically, this is based off an old film processing technique where you skip a certain step when you are exposing the negative, and it brings down the very bright parts of an image, the really high key color parts of an image. It's really a common look in movies and sort of effects, but if you come here, you can see all the automatic adjustments. You go darker, you go high key cool. This great auto function shows you a lot of opportunities. I like this Omaha Beach effect for this. I think this is a really cool look, but I don't need that much of it. So I'm going to just draw it down a little bit, kind of, you know, taste is what I'm doing. So I think that looks great. And if I'm looking at this image, the one thing that's pretty distracting to me are his shoes, because everything else looks pretty cool and you really can't tell that there's a figure back there. You wouldn't think to look for one. So what I'm going to do is go over here into this retouch tool and use Perfect Eraser. And it says you can just paint over the distractions you don't want to see. This actually comes up with a great size. Sometimes you can make it larger. If you want to take a larger part of the image, you can obviously make it smaller. I'm going to bring it down to about where it was. You can type this in to about 70. If you don't know what to type in, of course, it's much easier to just adjust the brush to what you want to see. So yeah, I'm going to go about here. And then I'm simply going to just paint away the parts of the image that I don't want in the scene. It's going to automatically take a look at what I want to do, and it's going to erase it for me. And I'm going to do a little bit of, you know what, I'm just going to do all of it together. And you can see where it works to find the areas you want, and not only erases it, but it maintains the texture underneath the image. You can see how those are going away. Ooh, I kind of like the way that goes. I can take that away though too. And that gives me, you can see that texture is kept. It doesn't just kind of clump it out. It actually keeps the texture, which is pretty funky. So now we've got this nice little circle going. And this, at the end of the day, is pretty close to what I want. I think the last thing I want is to put on a bit more of a vignette, just to draw your eye into what I want you to see. And I really like this big softy vignette. That's a big kind of puffy vignette. Yeah, I think that's really cool, just about there. So that would be the final image that I would want to make in terms of what I saw when I was looking at the image versus what I captured. I can start with something and then adjust as I go. And this was the image before, and this is the image after. Pretty dramatic.